Just waiting for it to start recording. All right, there we are. Okay. So once again, we are going to be practicing division today. And what we're doing today is very easy. To start with, we're going to review multiplying using the box method. Okay. So this is 68 times 4. So I know that I'm going to need 2 boxes. Let's see. So I'm just going to go ahead and make my rectangle here. Just watch me do this. Fix that a little bit. Okay. So I know 4 is going to come over here. Okay. Because that's the 1-digit number. So 4 is going to be on the side here. Now 6 does not go here. That 6, the value of that 6 is 60. Okay. Then we put the 8 in the ones place. Now we multiply. This one's easy. 4 times 8. That is a times table. That's one of our math facts. 8 times 4 is 32. So we're going to put 32 right there. And then 4 times 60. Remember, forget about that 0 right now. Or how we did it was we count the zeros. We go ahead and add that 1 0. And then 4 times 6 is 24. So 240. Remember, these are partial products. This is part of the product. That's part of the product. So we have to add them up. Again, this is not what we're doing today. We're going to be doing the reverse of this today. So 0 plus 2 is 2. 4 plus 3 is 7. And then bring down my 2. So 272 is my product there. Okay? But again, that's not what we're doing today. Today we're doing the opposite. Instead of multiplying and getting a product, we're going to be dividing and getting a quotient. Remember, a quotient is an answer in a division problem. Okay? So also, since when we do the box method with multiplying, when we add up at the end, what we're actually going to be doing is we're going to be subtracting to help us with division. Okay? So let's take a look at number 1 on, oops, sorry guys. Let's take a look at number 1 on page 238. Oh, wait a minute. Look, those are the same exact numbers. 68 divided by 4. Okay? So watch closely. This is how we're going to do these kind of problems. It's not going to be done exactly the same way. It's going to be a little different. Okay? So we're doing that one right now. 68 divided by 4. So what we're going to do is we're going to go ahead and draw our boxes. I know I'm going to need 2 boxes. Okay. So normally I will write numbers right here and right here and then get my 2 partial products. But this time what we're going to do is, since we're doing the reverse, we're doing the opposite, I'm going to write my 2 partial products, and then whatever I get up here, those are partial quotients. I'm going to add these 2 together. Okay? Excuse me. So 4 is going to stay that same singular number. Notice how each of these is divided by 1-digit number. Okay? That's how it's going to be today, just dividing by 1 digit, just to keep it easy. All right? So instead of, I'm not going to put 60 and 8 up here because we're not multiplying. Okay? And 68 isn't going to be anywhere over here. I know that's weird and it's going to be a little hard to understand, but that's why I'm doing several of these with you. Okay? In order to make this number match that number, I need to make that 40. That's what I want you to do. I want you to get this in your head right here. I'm going to write this right here. Times 10. We're going to use the power of 10 to help us out today. I know that 4 times 10 is 40. Basically what I'm saying is 4 can make 40. So 40 I'm going to put right here. Now I just said this. 4 times 10 is 40. So 10 is my first number up there. What I'm doing is I'm taking 68, and instead of chopping it into 60 and 8, I'm chopping it into one number that I know 4 can go into easily. I know 4 can go into 40. Then I need to figure out what this other number is. How do I do that? Well, I've used 40 from the 68, and I know this might be confusing. That's why we're going to do several of these together. This is where the subtraction comes in. I need to take that 68 and I need to subtract 40. Why am I subtracting 40? Because I've already used 40. Okay? I know that 4 can go into 40. You can do anything that you want. You can do 12 if you want to, because 4 can go into 12. But I like to use a big, solid number. I know that 4 can go into 40 10 times. So I need to figure out what this number is going to be. Let's see. 8 minus 0 is 8. 6 minus 4 is 2. So this number is 28. This partial product is 28. I need to figure out what this missing number is right here. So I need to figure out 4 times what is 28. That's a times table. That's a math fact. I know that 4 times 7 is 28. Okay. Now, whenever we multiply with the box method, we add these two numbers up. I'm not doing that because these two numbers are the ones that I used. These two numbers are the ones that I'm adding up this time. So when we divide, we add the two numbers that are on top because that's the ones that we're going to figure out. And we all know that 10 plus 7 is 17. So your answer for number 1 is 17. And if you do, I remember on Wednesday before Christmas, we practiced doing the algorithm where we put 4 into 6 and 4 into 8. If you do that regular algorithm, you'll get 17. Okay. Let me erase so we can go ahead and do number 2. I'm sure a lot of you are confused by this. That's okay. We're going to do a couple more and then you'll get it. Remember, we do this every time with math. Anytime we learn something new with several steps, it might be a little confusing, but if you do it a few times with Mr. Dowdy, it starts to make sense. Okay. Let's look at number 2. Okay. This says 138 divided by 6. We're on number 2 on page 238. Okay. So every time, every one of these problems today, you're going to draw a rectangle with 2 squares. Okay. Now, again, if we're multiplying using the box method, I'm going to take 100, 30, and 8. So that'd be 3 squares, and I'd multiply them by 6, get my partial products, and add them up. I'm not doing that this time. Okay. I'm going to keep my 6 over here. Every time, every single one of these one-digit numbers is going to go on the side here. Okay. But 138, again, you're not going to see 138 over here anywhere. I need to take a big chunk of number out of that number that I know I can turn 6 into. Remember, I told you, think times 10 because it's easy. Okay? I know that 6 can turn into 60. So I'm taking 60 out of that 138. How do I turn 6 into 60? Times 10. That's why 10 goes up here. 6 times 10 is 60. I know that because there's a 0 and 6 times 1 is 6. So again, whenever we multiply, you put numbers on top, numbers on the side. We add the numbers inside. It's different with division because it's the opposite. With division, we call this number the divisor. I'll get more into that later this week. We put that on the side, and then we chop this number up into 2 different numbers right here. Then we find out what our multipliers are on top, what our dividends are on top. That's another word we're going to talk about later this week. And we add up the 2 top numbers. Again, in multiplication, we add up these numbers. In division, we add up the 2 top numbers. Okay. We need to figure out what this top number is, though. So how am I going to do that? I've already used 60 from 138. So I need to figure out how much is more. Here's how I'm going to do that. I'm going to do 138 minus 60. Because I've already used 60. I need to figure out how much is left because however much is left is going to go here. Okay. Let's see. 8 minus 0 is 8. I'm going to borrow for this 3. Here's a quick review for borrowing. That 3 is going to turn into a 13, and I'm borrowing 1 from the next guy. So I need to take 1 away from him, making him a 0. 13 minus 6, that's going to be 7. So this mystery number here is 78. Again, what I've done is I've taken 138 and I've chopped it into 2 smaller numbers to make this easier. I chose 60 because I know 6 can go into 60 10 times. That's an easy times table. I chose 78 because, well, if I take 60 away from that big number, I have 78 left over, so I have to do that, okay? And now, I don't quite know how many times 6 goes into 78, but we can figure out through trial and error. That's something you're going to hear me say a lot with the division, trial and error. That means try. If you don't succeed, try again. Whenever we do division, I like to talk about Thomas Edison. I know you guys know he invented the light bulb, but he didn't just invent the light bulb. It took him 200 times to invent the light bulb. He tried 199 times and he failed. And on the 200th time, he finally got it. Okay. It's probably not exactly 200, but you get the idea. It's around that number. So I know that 6 times 10 is 60. Okay, so I'm going to try another number that's a little bit bigger than 10 to see if I can make 78. Let's see. Let's try Let's try 12 times 6. Let's see. 2 times 6 is 8. 6 times 2. I'm sorry, guys. That was wrong. That was my bad. I'm adding instead of multiplying. 6 times 2 is 12. Carry my 1. 6 times 1 is 6. Plus 1 is 7. That's too small. Okay? It is 13. I see Andre and a few others noticed that it was 13. If I add one more 6, making it 13 sixes, that would be 78. So watch this. 13 times 6. 6 times 3 is 18. Carry my 1. 6 times 1 is 6. Plus 1 is 7. So this mystery number is 13. We're not done yet, though. Remember, in division, well, if we were multiplying, which we're not today, if we were multiplying, we'd be adding these two up. But I already know what those two added up is because it's in my answer. Okay? For division, we're adding the two top numbers. 13 plus 10, that's going to be 23. 23. Okay? Let's see, I got my paper. So to help this make a little bit more sense, take a look at this piece of paper. I have 5 times 3 is 15. We all know that. If I reverse it and do it backwards, 15 divided by 3 is 5. Okay, that's what we're doing here. Okay, so 138 divided by 6, I take that number and I chop it up into these two numbers. I chose that one first because I know 6 goes into 60. You're going to do that for every one of these numbers, and it's going to help you. Always make sure that 10 should be your top number, your first top number every time is what I'm saying. Because you should be able to do like 2 times 10, 3 times 10, 7 times 10. Okay? Let's see if we can work on number 3. And so what we're going to do is I'm going to do a bunch of these with you, and then you're going to be doing these by yourself. And if you have an issue with one, you're going to text me on GoGuardian and say what number on what page, and I'm going to help you with it. Okay? But let's work on number 2. We already know, some of you already know the answer to number 3. 24 divided by 2, we know the answer is 12. There's 24 hours in a day. You cut that in half, that's 12 hours. Okay? But let's do the box method for division, and I'm going to prove it to you that it is 12. Once again, for every one of these problems today, you're going to be doing 2 boxes. Okay? So, let's see. 2 is always going to, remember that little single digit number is always going to go on the side here. Now, I need to think of a number that I can turn 2 into to help make that a smaller number, even though that's a pretty small number already. Okay? Remember, we're going to do times 10. That's going to help us out with this. Times 10. So, 2 times 10 is 20. See, 10 is going to be your first top number every time, just because it's going to help you out. Okay? So, I have 20. 24 minus 20, that's going to be 4. We all know that 2 goes into 4 how many times? 2 times, because 2 times 2 is 4. And watch this. When I add up my two top numbers, because that's what we're doing, we're adding up our top numbers, I'm going to get 12, just like I said we would. Okay? So that one was an easy one. That one was mental math, but we did it anyway just to show our work. Make sure that you have these in your written down in your math book, by the way. Sometime later this week, I might ask you to hold your math book up to the camera and turn the pages so I can see that you've been doing your work. So make sure you're doing it with me. Otherwise, when we have a test on this, on Big Ideas Math, how are you going to be able to know how to do it? All right, let's move on to number 4. Okay, let me erase this real quick first so I can be ready. Number 4 is 48 divided by 3. Some of you already know that we're going to be working with the number 30 because 3 times 10 is 30. So for each one of these problems, to set it up, draw 2 squares. Go ahead and put that single digit divisor on the side where it belongs. And let's go ahead and put 10 right there. We're always going to put 10 on the side, okay? 3 times 10 we know is 30. Let's see here. There we go. Okay? So I need to figure out what's left over from that 48 to put right here. So I'm going to have to come to the side and subtract. That's okay. 48 minus 30. 8 minus 0 is 8. 4 minus 3 is 1. So I have 18 left over. If you're good at your times tables, you know that 3 can go into 18. I know that 3 times 6 is 18. Okay? So this is the 4th time that we've done this type of problem. You should know by now that we do not add these two numbers up. I already know what 30 plus 18 is. It's 48 because it's in my problem. Remember, we're doing the reverse. Division is the reverse of multiplication. When we do multiplication, we add these two numbers up. And when we do division, we're going to add the two top numbers up because that's what we're looking for. If it helps you remember that the answer in division is on the top. Whenever you do a normal division problem, like what was this, 48 divided by 3, our answer is going to be on the top, 16. Okay, because 10 plus 6 is 16. So 16 is your answer for number 4. Okay. I'm going to go ahead and work on number 5 with you. Let me erase real fast. By the way, I hope you guys like all my Steelers stuff. I know they lost yesterday, but they still get to go to the playoffs, which is pretty sweet. Drink of water real quick. All right, 98 divided by 7. Okay. Once again, here's the couple of steps that you do to start your problem. First things first, always draw your two squares. We're going to go ahead and put 10 on top because I know I'm going to be using 10 first. That single digit number 7 goes on the side. Now I can figure out what that number is. These two numbers are the ones I'm going to add up at the end, but I still need to figure out what that one is so that I can figure out what that one is. Think of it as a puzzle. You have to figure out one part before you do the next part, before you do the third part, okay? So I'm using 10 because it's easy for me. I know all the 10 times tables are easy, okay? I know that 7 times 10 is 70. So I'm using 70. I'm taking 70 away from that 98. So since I'm taking it away, I'm going to subtract to figure out what that mystery number is. I need to figure out how much is left over, okay? I have used 70 of that 98 number. Now I need to figure out how much is left. Some of you already know it because you can do mental math, okay? 8 minus 0 is 8. 9 minus 7 is 2. There's a number we've already seen today. I'm going to put 28 right here, okay? So I need to figure out 7 can go into 28 how many times. Another way to say it, if you do it backwards, 7 times what is 28? That's a times table we've already been over today. That's going to be 4. So last step, we're going to add up the two top numbers. Remember that you can remember that you use the top numbers because the answer on a division problem is always on top of the house, right on top, okay? And yes, I saw Mariah and Andre and a couple others. You already said it's 14. 14 is my answer. So 98 divided by 7 is 14. So you can use the box method with division to help make it go a lot quicker. Some of you might like this a lot better than doing the actual algorithm, and that's okay. All right, so that was number 1 through 5. Let's go ahead and work on. By the way, right now we're on page 239 in our textbook, and we're going to do number 6, 7, and 8. Those are the last 3 I'm going to do with you. Then I'm going to tell you which ones you're going to do by yourself today. Okay? All right, so number 6 on page 239, that's going to be 125 divided by 5. We've actually talked about this problem a few times before in class, dealing with money, okay? All right, so I see a few people who keep joining and leaving and joining. Make sure you stay, please. If you keep leaving, Miss Ford said that I have to mark you absent, so make sure you're not doing that. So 125, think of it as $1.25. Let's see who can type it in the chat. What do you think our answer is? If I have $1.25 divided by 5. We're going to find our answer together, but I want to see who can come up with the answer first. That's right, Carly. It's 25 cents. If I have 5 quarters, that's $1.25. Okay, so 25 is our answer, but let's find out for sure with our box. Okay, my single digit number always goes on the side here. just like it would in a regular division problem. So imagine this being a very weird division house, okay? Instead of doing our algorithm, divide, multiply, subtract, bring down, and getting all this stuff, we're just going to chop that number into two pieces and then do two little division problems and add up our partial quotients. Remember, quotient is an answer in a division problem. It's going to be on top here, okay? We're going to use 10 again because 10 is going to help us out. I know that 5 times 10 is 50. Now I need to figure out what this number is. Well, if I'm taking 50 away from that number, I need to figure out what 125 minus 50 is. While I'm doing this, think about what $1.25 minus 50 cents would be. Okay? Let's see. 5 minus 0 is 5. And 12 minus 5 would be 7. That'll be 75 cents. So I got 75 left over here. Okay. Now we could count by fives to see how many times 5 goes into 75. But let's do our trial and error. I know that 5 times 10 is 50. I need to figure out 5 times what is 75. Okay. Well, let's try 13 times 5. That's bigger than 10. Okay. If this doesn't make 75, if it's too small, then we need to try again. Let's see. Times 5. 5 times 3 is 15. Carry my 1. 5 times 1 is 5. Plus 1 is 6. That's 65. That's too small. So I need to try something else. I need to go bigger. I know 65 is 10 numbers away from 75, and there's 2 5s and 10. So I'm going to try 15 this time. 15 times 5. 5 times 5 is 25. Carry my 2. 5 times 1 is 5. Plus 2 is 7. That's it. That's going to be 15 right there. Now remember, we're not done yet. The very last step is to add up the two top numbers. That's going to be 25. Just like we said, 25 cents. If I have 5 quarters, it's going to be $1.25. All right. Before I do 7 and 8, I'm going to take a quick inventory of who is all here. I'm not going to call out names. I'm sure some of you know who it is. There's been 1 or 2 of you who keep leaving and coming back. Once again, if you keep doing that, I'm going to have to mark you absent for today. So make sure you stay online. And if it's a Wi-Fi issue, make sure you text me and GoGuardian and let me know. Okay. All right. Let's work on number 7 on page 239. So I'm only doing 2 more of these with you. So if you're still a little confused, make sure you pay real close attention. I'm going to go real slow. And we're going to follow all the steps. Okay. So this was 243 divided by 9. Okay. Step 1 is to draw 2 squares. Every problem you do today, you're going to draw 2 squares. Okay. Step 2 is to take that 1-digit number and move it to the side. We're going to call that the divisor, and I'm going to go over what that word means later. Okay? Now, again, we're not doing 240 and 3. That's for multiplication. We're doing the opposite. Okay? I don't know who that. So instead of doing putting our numbers on top, we're going to figure out what our partial products are to tell us what our partial quotients are, and we're going to add up the top. Okay? So remember, every time you should have a number 10 up here. For every problem, you should have a 10 on top of that first box because 10 helps you out. 10 lets you know that, I know that 9 times 10 is 90. Our 10 times tables are very easy. Okay? So now what I need to do is I need to take that 90, I need to subtract it from that number because I've already used it. And whatever I have left over goes in that box. Okay? So what I've done is I've taken 90 from that number and put it right here because I know that I can do 90 divided by 9 is 10. Now I'm going to find out what my other number is. And some of you can already tell that we're probably going to have to do a little bit of trial and error, and that's okay. Okay? So let's see. I need to do 243. I'm going to come to the side. Subtract 90 because I've already used 90, and whatever's left over is going in this box. And once I do that, I need to do 9 times what gives me that number, or that number divided by 9 is what? Okay. So let's see. 3 minus 0, that's going to be 3. I can't do 4 minus 9, so I'm going to have to borrow. Okay, that's going to become 14. That 1, I'm going to borrow from the 2, making him a 1. Okay. 14 minus 9, it's going to be 5. Bring down my 1. All right, so I got 153. So you know what? This number is big enough. I think once you get into the 200s, let's go ahead and add another square. And I'm going to tell you why. Because I can take another 90 out of here. I can make another 90, and that's going to be another 10. Okay? Instead of doing all that trial and error to try and see how many times 9 goes into 153, why not just take another 90 out of there? Because if I was doing 153 divided by 9, I would definitely take the 90 out. So I need to subtract that 90. Now, I know I said every one of these problems you're going to be doing 2 squares, but it looks like if you can do 200 or above, if your number right here is 200 or above, then you might want to make 2 or 3 squares, okay? So let's see here. I'm going to subtract another 90 from that 153, and that should get me about where I need to go. Let's see, 3 minus 0, that's going to be 3. And I'm just going to go ahead and do 15 minus 9 is 6. Look at that. We know what number makes 63 if you mix it with 9. Okay? 9 times what is 63? I know that that is 7. Okay? So instead of doing the algorithm, instead of doing DMSB over and over again and getting this whole big problem that takes up the whole board, I've written down, let's see, 7 different numbers. That's it. And now I'm going to add up these top 3 numbers. 10 and 10 is 20, and 20 plus 7 is 27. So 243 divided by 9 is 27. Okay? Very good, Mariah. So that was one of those weird ones. So basically what went on here with this extra third box is we took that 90 out just like we always did with our 10 on top. But then we said, wait a minute, we still have a very large number right here. I can take another 90 out of there just to make my job easier. So why not do that? Okay. We did that. And then we had 63 left over. And we know that our times table is 9 times 7 is 63. Just like with all division, you add up the top numbers that are on top of the roof. And that is what our quotient is, 27. All right. I'm going to do one more with you. This is number 8 on page 239 of your textbook. Let me find my eraser. There it is. Okay. Once I'm done with this, I'm going to show you what problems that you're going to be doing. Okay. So number 8 on page 239 says 132 divided by 4. Okay. So I think that we're only going to need, you know what? We might need 3 squares on this one. I'm going to start with 2, but just in case, if I need it later, I can always add a third later. Okay. So let's just start with 2 squares right now. Okay. Always put your 4 or whatever your single digit divisor is on that side. And I'm always going to use 10 first. Okay. So that means I'm going to take 40 away from that 132 because I know that 4 can go into 40 very easily. I'm making it easy on my brain. Okay. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to take this number, my dividend, and I'm going to subtract 40 from it. Why? Because I took 40 from it to get that 10. Let's see, 132 minus 40. 2 minus 0 is 2. And 13 minus 4 is going to be 9. So that's 92. Okay? I think I can take another 40 out of there. I think I can. So that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to take another 40, giving me another 10, because 40 divided by 4 is 10. Or other way around, 4 times 10 is 40. So I need to subtract another 40. 2 minus 0 is 2. And 9 minus 4 is 5. Okay. I think I can take another 40 out of here. So that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to take another 40 out. I'm going to make my box a little small. That way I can fit it. So I know I said that you might only need 2 boxes for each of these, but sometimes you need to add a few more, and that's okay. I'm going to take another 40 out. That's going to give me another 10 because 4 times 10 is 40. I need to subtract it from this, and we all know that 52 minus 40 is 12 because 2 minus 1 is 2. 5 minus 4 is 12. So now I have 12 left over. So I need a fourth box, 12. And I know that we all know that 4 times 3 is 12. So that top number there is going to be 3. Okay. So before we add them up, Keith, you're not supposed to be in here yet. You're supposed to be in Miss D's classroom. Okay. You're going to be doing this later this afternoon. Okay. Yes, Mariah, it is 33. So let's review what we did first. First, I know that 4 can go into 40, so I took 40 away from 132, and I got 10. Okay. Once I subtracted, I had 92. I could take another 40, so I did that. I took another 40, and I did 40 divided by 4 is another 10. When I subtracted again, I had 52. I had enough room to take another 40 out, so I did that. So 40 divided by 4 is a third 10. Then at the very end, what I had left over was 12. I can't take another 40 out, but I know that 4 can go into 12. I know 4 times 3 is 12. I don't know 4 times what is 132. I don't know what that is yet because that's not a times table. I don't have that memorized. But using the times tables that I have memorized, I was able to figure out that my partial quotients are 10, 10, 10, and 3. And like Mariah said, our answer for this one is 33. Okay? All right, so let me show you what you're going to be doing. Let's see here. On page 242, I don't know if they're all on the same page or what, but I want you to do sorry. There we go. That's the problem. You're going to be doing page 241 and 242. Okay? So on page 241, I want you to do numbers 1 and 2. And on page 242, I want you to do number 3, 4, 5, and 6. And that's it. Okay? That's all you're going to be doing. So let me go ahead and stop my recording because that's what I'm going to be sharing with everybody. I don't know how to do that. There we go.